Hello everyone, Arthelon here, hoping to juice you up with some info on how to get Exalted with Darnassus and get your very own beautiful cat mount, hopefully before they change into the other mounts so that you can get the Frost Saber and the Dark Saber, which I think are two of the best looking mounts in the game. And not even this mount is available on retail, so I think it's just a very cool looking mount. And yeah, so the way to get Darnassus Exalted is actually just fairly simple. You just do every Darnassus quest basically while leveling up, and you'll find yourself at Exalted or very close to it. In doing this, if you're a human, dwarf, or gnome, you would go to the Night Elf starting area and you would just start doing every quest. And a good resource is on the WoW database. There's a list of quests, and you can sort by level, or you can sort by the zone. And using this is very, very easy just to track down all these different quests and do them as you're leveling up. And every quest basically is in Kalimdor, and the zones you would have to go to would be Teldrassil, Darkshore, Fellwood, Winterspring, Ashenvale, Stone Talon, Desolace, and Fairless. And of course, there's going to be certain quests scattered around Eastern Kingdoms and some other ones in Kalimdor that will give you Darnassus rep as well. And you also have your quests that will give reputation to all of the Alliance, and I think there's a lot of quests like that. So, in general, you'll probably get a lot of Darnassus rep anyway while naturally leveling, well, not even worrying about it. One issue, though, is at the start of a server, obviously, it's going to be very rough to try to do every quest. Especially in the starting zones, there's going to be massive amounts of people. So it might take a very long time for you to do those quests. So you might want to skip some of them for the rep or whatever. In that case, you're going to probably have to do Marrowgrain turn-ins, which per 10 Marrowgrain you get 75 Darnassus rep. On my human on the PvE server, after I hit 60, I think I was a little bit before halfway exalted with Darnassus, so I ended up having to do a lot of the Marrowgrain turn-ins myself. But if you do start at the starting zone and you just make sure to hit up all the quests, there should be very little or even none of the Marrowgrain grind that you have to do. Some very common missed quests, I think, there's one in Ashenvale called the Howling Vale. It's a pretty long quest chain. You'll miss a lot of rep if you don't do this one. It starts over here. And then also the one in Stone Talon, which, as you can see, has a lot of quests that you do, which starts in Astronar and Ashenvale and takes place mostly in this little area. And there's a lot of running around, but it's also a massive amount of rep. Also, there's the Black Fathom Deeps. I think there's 3 or 4 quests to do there. I have never done that dungeon. It's not very popular for Alliance players, I think. Definitely not necessary, but you can do Black Fathom Deeps if you want. So if you find yourself having to do Marrowgrain, the way it works is you have to go to this vendor, and you have to buy yourself an evergreen pouch. And this has a 10-minute cooldown. And for every use, you need a packet of Thalindices, which you can just buy at this vendor. So it costs a little bit of silver, but it's nothing too extreme. You usually make up this money while you grind your Ungrow soil. And in Ungrow, basically every mob in Ungrow drops your soil, but the ones with the highest drop rate and the ones you'll get the fastest are the bugs and the slithering scar, which is definitely not very glamorous, but it is the best method. And as you're running around, there will be Ungrow soil nodes that you can pick up. Obviously, this is one of the toughest, or just maybe excruciating grinds just because your flight path is all the way up here. So you're going to end up having to go all the way down and grind bugs. So with that being said, you want to make sure that your bags are completely empty, barring anything you need. Food, you're going to need food, you're going to need bandages, and these mobs do not drop cloth or any sort of cooking things, so you want to make sure that you have what you need so you can kill them efficiently. One thing that helps a lot is that level 1s can actually walk to this vendor and buy the pouch if you just give them enough gold. And that's what I did. I had 2 characters parked here, and I gave them enough gold to where I could just keep mailing them undergrow soil, and they would just keep buying seeds. And every 10 minutes I would log on them and I would make a casing. And not every casing is going to give you Mara grain. A lot of them will actually just give you just random herbs. And sometimes you can make a little bit of your money back by selling those herbs in the auction house. Or if you have alchemy, you can also just use it to level some alchemy. Another method you could do is you can simply buy them off the auction house. I did buy a lot of Mara grain. So if you're not into grinding bugs and you don't want to go to Ungrow all the time, you could just get a decent gold per hour route going, which also works. Some things to keep in mind though is that you will run out of Mara grain to buy on the auction house regardless, and sometimes it can be very expensive. Usually they're not that expensive because usually the original quest turn in, which gives XP, which a lot of people do, it only takes I think 20 Mara grain, but people often get a lot of ungrow soil, and so they'll keep making Mara grain even though they don't really have to, just because it's in their bags and they bought 20 seeds or whatever. And oftentimes they'll throw it up on the auction house because what else are you going to do with Mara grain? There's no other use for it. Usually they're pretty cheap, but you need a lot of them because every 10 Mara grain is 75 rep, so that means 100 Mara grain is a 750 rep. So in needing 21,000 rep, you can see how it can be kind of expensive to do it this way, but you can just buy Mara grain, or you can do a mix of both. But one thing I wanted to show you is that on my level 48 warrior here, I did every quest starting from level 1. I still didn't do Black Fathom Deeps, and I'm sure I missed a few quests here and there, but this character is already at 19,600 into revered, so she only needs 1,400 more rep to get exalted. So as you can see, it's very easy to just do all the quests, and you won't have to deal with all the Mara grain headache to get your mount. But yeah, that's basically it. Just keep looking at the list of quests here and make sure you do them all, or just note of them in case you miss them, and you'll be good to go to get your very, very pretty mount. And the most important thing regarding this is that you won't have cloth turn-ins because the patch for that will be afterwards. So if you want this specific mount or the other mount without the armor, you have to do that before that patch comes out. And the only method to do that is to do all the Darnassus quests as you level, or to do a lot of Mara grain like I did. And also keep in mind, if you're level 60, you can still do any quest that you missed, but it's going to be at a very, very reduced rate. I think it's either 10 or 20% of the total rep you'd get. So it's still useful, but if you don't start the Night Elf Zone, you are going to have to do Mara grain one way or the other. So just keep that in mind. I hope this video was helpful, and I wish you all luck in getting your exquisite mounts, and I hope to see you all running around on those mounts in Elysium. So thank you all very much for watching, and I wish you luck.